You know, from the coffee you're drinking right now to the music on your playlist, chances are the big calls were made in just a handful of cities. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on these global command centers, these incredibly powerful hubs that, believe it or not, quietly shape our daily lives.
Have you ever stopped to wonder how that happens? I mean, think about it. 1 minute, a new fashion trend is just on a local runway somewhere. And what feels like the next day, it's everywhere. Or a stock market dip in one country sends ripples across the entire world. So what's the deal? Well, it all boils down to a very special kind of city.
All right, so to really get this whole global web, we've got to talk about something called the urban hierarchy. It's basically this invisible power structure, right? It connects all the world's cities, and, well, it decides who's calling the shots.
And sitting right at the top of this pyramid, you've got what we call world cities. Now, the key phrase to lock in here is disproportionate impact. See, these aren't just your run-of-the-mill huge cities. We're talking about places that punch way, way above their weight on the world stage.
Yeah, it's kind of like this. Think of a world city as the global HQ. It's where the big decisions get made, in finance, in politics, even in pop culture. And then whoosh, they just ripple out across the entire planet.
Okay, and this is super important. We have to draw a line here. Influence is not the same thing as population. Just because a city is massive, like packed with people, doesn't automatically make it one of these command centers. It's really a classic case of quality over quantity.
Let's break it down nice and simple. A megacity? That's all about one thing, population. We're talking 10 million people or more. But a world city, that's a totally different ballgame. It's defined by its global connections and its influence. Take New York City, for instance. It's got less than 9 million people, so technically it's not a megacity. And yet, it's arguably the most influential world city on the entire planet. See the difference?
All right, so who are we talking about here? Who are these major players? Let's meet the cities that are consistently at the tippy top of this urban food chain.
Yeah, this list is pretty exclusive. You've got New York City, which is just a monster in both finance, hello Wall Street, and politics, with the UN headquarters right there. Then you hop over to Europe, and London and Paris are kind of like the twin engines for finance and culture. And over in Asia, you have Tokyo, the hub for global trade and technology, and Shanghai, which is the command center for the East Asian economy.
Okay, so we know what these cities are, and we know who the big players are, but the big question is how? How do they actually do it? Well, it pretty much boils down to 3 key engines that power globalization from these central hubs.
First up, engine number 1, transportation networks. This is the physical stuff. It's all about moving actual people and actual goods around the globe. Think of them like the arteries and veins of the world economy. And the scale we're talking about here is just mind-blowing. Take Tokyo's port, for example. It can handle up to 200 million metric tons of freight in a single year. That's insane. And when you combine that kind of sea power with super-fast trains connecting cities and huge international airports, well, that's it. That's the physical web that ties the whole world together. But look, moving boxes and people is only half the picture. Engine number 2 is all about communication systems, the flow of information. It's like if transportation is the body of the global economy, then communication, that's its central nervous system.
I mean, think about it. Today's global economy runs on data that moves at the speed of light, and that allows for these unbelievably complex operations. Take a company like Nestle. They can coordinate buying cocoa beans in West Africa, processing them somewhere else, and selling chocolate bars literally everywhere, all in real time. And it's all managed through these high-speed networks that are centered in these very cities.
Okay, and this brings us to engine number 3. And honestly, this might just be the most powerful one of them all: cultural innovation and diffusion. This is where it gets personal. This is how world cities influence not just the stuff you buy, but how you think, what you listen to, and even what you value.
Just think about this for a second. The top 10 highest-grossing international films of all time, every single one of them was produced in Hollywood. That is an incredible statistic. We're not just talking about movies here. That's raw cultural power, exporting a specific set of ideas and values with every single ticket sold around the globe.
And hey, this is not just a Hollywood story. Far from it. While Hollywood is doing its thing, you've got Bollywood in Mumbai, completely shaping how the world sees Indian culture. You've got Nollywood, the booming film industry out of Lagos, Nigeria, making its mark. And then there's music. Think about hip-hop. It started as a local sound on the streets of New York City and grew into a legit global language.
So all this concentrated power sounds pretty impressive, right? But it's not all sunshine and roses. It's really a double-edged sword, especially for the people who actually live in these global hubs. It brings these huge benefits, for sure, but it also comes with some pretty significant burdens.
So on the one hand, yeah, you get this amazing economic boom, tons of jobs, incredible cultural diversity. The opportunities can be massive. But there's always a but, right? The flip side is often huge socioeconomic gaps, a cost of living that is just through the roof, and gentrification that pushes out the very people who built these communities. And that amazing connectivity, it's also a huge vulnerability. A crisis on one side of the planet can hit these cities like a shockwave, almost instantly.
So look, there's no question these command centers are wiring our world together tighter than ever. They're creating this shared global experience. But that leaves us with this massive central question. As these cities pull the world closer, are they actually building a more unified global community? Or are the pressures inside them, like inequality, and the risks from the outside, like global crises, actually pushing us further apart? It's a huge question, and the future of our connected world really might hang on the answer.